What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is the show where I take all your questions and answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we have a crazy show for you today. A lot of great things have come out literally within the last 24 hours that I would love to talk about. And if this is your first time on this show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all that notifications of every time I'm releasing a video on my channel. So if this is your first time ever watching an episode of Ask Alex, I'd like to personally welcome you to this channel. You know, this is episode 44. I've been doing this 44 episodes now, and I'm actually really thankful that I have a fan base that continues to watch my content. So again, thank you for your love and support. I truly appreciate that. And if you want your question or topic on this show, all you have to do is just send me an email at theaskalexshow@gmail.com. That's theaskalexshow@gmail.com. If you send me an email, I can promise you I will try to get to your question on my channel. So now that we've gotten that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into the first question of the day. And the first question comes from a Tony Barnes, and he writes, "Hey Alex, it's just been confirmed that Zoe Kravitz has been cast as Catwoman in Matt Reeves' Batman movie. What do you think about this casting?" So thank you for your question, Tony. So literally within the last 24 hours, Zoe Kravitz has been cast as Catwoman. We all know that Matt Reeves was developing a new solo Batman film with Robert Pattinson as the Batman, and we now have Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon potentially, and then another actor, I forget his name, is going to either play the Riddler, Penguin, or some villain in this movie. Now, to answer your question about this casting, do I like it? Now, personally, I've only seen Zoe Kravitz act in certain things, right? I do think she's a phenomenal actress. I don't necessarily see her as Catwoman, but I was talking to one of my friends about this. I said I trust Matt Reeves because Matt Reeves is a really good film director, and I really think he knows how to push the narrative for this story. And when he's casting certain people, he knows what makes an actor tick. He literally brings the greatness out of them when he's recording them on screen. So I think this is an amazing casting. I think she would be perfect for Catwoman. I'm not so sure of how she's going to be portraying the character. That's where I lie on the fence of it. But I think it's an amazing casting. I've seen her do a couple things that I thought she was phenomenal in. But I'm very interested to see what this movie brings. As you guys know, I was not excited for Robert Pattinson being cast as Batman. If you want to know more of those thoughts, you can check some of my previous episodes of Ask Alex or Hero TV for that. But if I'm being 100% honest, I trust Matt Reeves. I understand that he wants to take this Batman to a different direction. So I'm willing to see what this particular character is going to bring to the overall movie. So thank you for your question, Tony. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which comes from a Keith Wellington. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so there are some images floating around with the new redesign for Sonic. Are these images real, and what do you think about the new look of Sonic?" Well, thank you for your question, Keith. So what Keith is referring to, literally within the last maybe 24 hours, there was some photos of Sonic, the redesign of Sonic for the Sonic movie, leaked online. There really aren't, the major trades are not really reporting on it, except for maybe comicbook.com. Some of them are, not all of them, but some of them are not really reporting on it because it's hard to verify if these are real. And I'll bring the photos on screen. And as you can see from the photos, this redefined Sonic looks like it's a more accurate version of what Sonic looks like. He's shorter. He's a little bit more, I guess, bulkier, and he's, the eyes are more Sonic-esque, and like his whole body looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, keep in mind, these are rumored. These are not been confirmed by the studio or anybody. This is not even, we don't know if this is the real redesign for Sonic just yet. So keep that in mind. Now, here are my thoughts about this. They went back to the original look of Sonic, which I like. It's definitely better than the version of Sonic that we saw before. There's just something about it that's not really gelling with me. I will say if this is real, it definitely looks better. It definitely looks like Sonic, but I don't know. It just looks really odd to me. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's bad. It definitely looks so much better from the previous version of Sonic that we know from the movie that they released. However, it just doesn't gel with me. I have to see it in context. If this is the real image. Now, if this is the real image of Sonic and we see him interacting with the other characters and doing what Sonic does in this movie, then okay, I might flock to it. And I think Paramount's doing this movie. They definitely need a home run for this movie. So I'm willing to give this version, this redesign, a chance because it definitely looks better than the previous version that they tried to release to us literally a few months ago. So it's not been confirmed. It's definitely rumored. But again, I'm willing to give it a chance. So thank you for your question. Let's go ahead and jump to the next question, which comes from an Omar Jacobs. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so Martin Scorsese said that the MCU films are not cinema. They are theme park movies. To a degree, I agree with his point. I don't feel like comic book movies are cinema. What do you think about his comments?" So thank you for your question, Omar. What Omar's referring to, literally within the last few weeks, initially, Martin Scorsese said, in an interview that he felt like that the MCU were not cinema films. Like he didn't feel like those Marvel movies or comic book movies in general were cinema. Literally within the last 48 to 72 hours, he doubled down on his comments and said that he didn't feel like the MCU movies are cinema. He felt like they were more theme park movies. He felt like it was definitely not what the cinema was made for. Now, I have not voiced my opinions about it on video about Martin Scorsese, but let me preference what I'm about to say. Okay, so I love Martin Scorsese. As a film director myself, I love his films. I can't wait for The Irishman to come out. I'm definitely going to watch it. If they had a premiere of it in my city, I would definitely go pay money to go see it because Scorsese is an amazing film director. He knows how to tell a compelling story. Fun fact, if you didn't know, Scorsese was he wasn't heavily, but he was involved with the Joker movie that's currently out now. His producing partner actually worked on the film, and Scorsese gave the concept to Warner Brothers. So I want to put that out there that he has worked on a quote-unquote comic book movie before. Now, with all that being said, I'll say this. Scorsese is right that the MCU movies are like theme park movies. Because when I think about theme parks, I think about wild rides. The MCU is definitely a wild ride. From your Ant-Man to your Avengers to, Infinity War to Black Panther to Iron Man to all of the movies that they have brought together. They are definitely a wild ride because they show things that you never thought you would ever see before. I mean, they're amazing films. So I agree with him on that aspect. Martin, if you ever watch this, you're wrong. You're wrong. Film is subjective. Okay, so we can't... Now, granted, if you feel like, those movies are not cinema, then that's your perspective. But for me, every film, even the ones that I don't like, is cinema. They're cinema. And on top of that, I take issue with his comments because he has said in his initial comments that he didn't really even watch the films. So my thing is, that's like me saying, oh, The Joker is a terrible movie, but I've never seen the movie. So how would I know it's terrible? Trust me, even though I've never seen the movie, it's a terrible movie. I've never seen the movie, so how can I say it's a terrible movie? Or that's like me saying Scorsese is a terrible director, but I've never seen any of his films. How can I say that? Like, how could I really say that? Because I've never seen, it's an oxymoron. So in his own statements, he's really like contradicting himself. Maybe this has to do with his up-and-coming movie, The Irishman. I mean, I would even say that some directors are frowning upon that you're putting out your movie on Netflix. And keep in mind, Netflix was the only studio that gave your movie a chance. Because not only did they give it a chance of spending the money that they needed for this movie, your movie's 3.5 hours long with a lot of expensive technology applied to it. Most movie studios are not going to spend that much money on a film like that, especially 3.5 hours long. So I think that might be his gripe with studios, or I don't know. And then maybe he just has an old way of thinking. But you know, Jennifer Aniston made the similar comments about the MCU, saying that she wants less of those movies to come out in theaters. But here's the thing. Comic book movies, if we're talking about just comic book movies as a whole, there are maybe 10 comic book movies that come out in a 12-month year. So when you say that they're dominating movies and they're not cinema, what are you talking about? As of right now in 2019, there are more dramatic, action-packed comedies, animation films that are played than comic book movies. As a matter of fact, if you take DC and the MCU combined, they put out less movies than any other movie company in regards to what you would consider a cinema film. So I disagree with that notion. Marvel movies haven't even come out where they're putting out 4 movies a year yet. So I completely disagree with that. So personally, Omar and Martin, I believe that you're wrong. I think that, hey, every movie is subjective. Just because you don't think something is cinema doesn't mean it's not cinema. You got great actors and directors working on these films. They're cinema. So, but that's my take on that. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which comes from a Michael Black. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so I was wondering how you felt about Tom Holland helping Sony and Disney make a deal with helping Sony and Disney make a deal to keep Spider-Man in the MCU. Do actors have that type of power?" Well, thank you for your question, Michael. I'm just going to be honest with you. First of all, this is all about money, number one. Tom Holland probably did meet with Bob Iger and then the president of Sony and the chairman of Sony in regards to this character. But Tom Holland has no right to Spider-Man. Regardless if he plays the character or not, he doesn't own the character. This has to do with nothing but money, marketing, and merchandising and financing. Tom Holland doesn't fit in this bubble. Here's the thing. This is what the major trades are not reporting. Disney and Sony could care less who's playing Spider-Man. Disney and Sony can really care less who's playing any of their characters that they own. As long as they're making money, they're cool with the fact that whoever's playing them. So you have to keep that in mind. So no, actors don't have that type of power. Unless, Tom Holland decided, hey, I'll take a pay cut, which I seriously doubt. And keep in mind, out of every movie or everything that Tom Holland has ever acted in, Spider-Man is the one character that he has played that's probably paid him the most. So again, this is about money. And I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar. I'm willing to bet the licensee and all the deals that I got here at Momentum Media that if they didn't launch a deal, if Sony didn't launch a deal with Disney, they would have recasted Tom Holland. They would have rebooted the character because you couldn't have told a cohesive story after Far From Home. It wouldn't make sense. Like, if Sony were to do a Spider-Man 3 movie, but you can't address anything that happened, it would have been completely just different and mind-boggling. And the fans were like, listen, I'm not putting up with this. You know, y'all got to fix this. I being one of those fans saying, you have to fix this. So, no, Tom Holland doesn't have that type of power. No, Tom Holland didn't influence their decision at all. If anything, Tom Holland wanted to make sure he got a cohesive check when it came to Spider-Man. You know, he still gets royalties for playing the character, and he has his deal in place where every time Spider-Man is in a movie, I'm assuming he's going to get a check for it because he's portraying that character for how many years. So, again, this is all about money. So thank you for your question, Michael. And that will wrap up my show today. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all the updates of every time I'm releasing an episode. And please, if you haven't already, go to my Patreon page and support us on Patreon. We have 3 tiers on there, and every dollar you donate helps us create really great content. Listen, we are coming out with a lot of great things here at Momentum Media. We're going to consistently put out episodes of Ask Alex, and I'm bringing back Hero TV as well. So please continue to watch our content and support us here at Momentum Media. So thank you guys for watching this video, and as always, you have a blessed day. We'll be right back.